Day 4 of the rescue operations at the SLBC tunnel accident site, and the developments have not been too encouraging because after day 1 and day 2, if you see day 3 and day 4, the teams that went into the SLBC tunnel almost till 13 kilometers distance, they have reported that there has been an increase in the mud and the slush that has gathered at the accident site, and they are suspecting that more of that material is coming in, and that's the reason why Mr. Anshul of the NHIDCL, which is a government body, National Highways and Infrastructure Development Corporation, he has reported that in the trip to the height that he saw of the mud inside the tunnel, and on day 4 what he saw, the increase has been more than 1 meter. And already we are talking about a tunnel that has a diameter of about 9 meters, and if there was only that much of a space that was left, hardly about 10 to 12 feet or 9 to 10 feet in the beginning, now that has reduced much further, and that's the reason for worry. And the bigger worry is also that there could be structural stability issues, because of which all the slush and the mud could be coming in either gradually or suddenly, because they found a cavity on top of it, which seems to suggest that there was something suddenly that fell, because of which the volume or the amount of slush seems to have increased. Water, of course, is flowing steadily, 3,200 liters per minute, an estimated water flow, and that is not too worrisome, because when you're digging a tunnel at that depth of about 400 meters, this is not unusual. So dewatering process is of course happening in that area, but what we are being told is that the slush has in fact come more towards the inlet side now than what it was during the first and the second days and the third day even. And therefore there is a worry now whether to continue with the rescue operations for two reasons. They do not want to put the life of these rescue personnel to risk. There are people from the Army, NDRF, SDRF, and there are experts who are going in. Two of the teams that went in were led by the NDRF, two other teams were led by the NHIDCL, and yesterday the fifth team that went in, there were two geologists and two drone experts as well. There are people from the L&T and other private agencies as well who have expertise with tunnel boring work. All of them have given the opinion that right now it may be dangerous to undertake intensive activity of rescue inside the tunnel, and that's the reason why there's a temporary halt now. Even though dewatering is happening and the excavation machine was sent in to take out the mud, they do not want to disturb it too much, because there is one expert who has said that he believes there was some kind of a tectonic activity that has destabilized that region, and that's the reason why the government is now called in from the NRSA and the GSI. They've given them the latitude and the longitude to get an idea about the topography and about the structural factors, geophysical factors there, to make sure that it's not going to come collapsing down on the rescue workers, and that is a risk which even the Australian expert Mr. Christopher Cooper of L&T has also warned the authorities about that kind of a danger as well. So private agencies, national agencies, tunnel experts, those who are involved with disaster response, engineers, all of them are working together. In fact, 9 agencies are working with a unified command. The disaster response Special Chief Secretary Arvind Kumar is getting the inputs, and hourly updates are being given to the Chief Minister as well, but they would need to take a call on what happens, because there has been no contact at all with the 8 people who were trapped on Saturday morning. About 13.5 kilometers inside the tunnel, at the point where the tunnel boring machine was. We did get input saying that the tunnel boring machine, which is almost like a 3-story structure and which is almost 200 meters long, and metal from that has actually been blown away almost a distance of another 200 meters, which means the impact of that phenomenon was quite tremendous, and therefore the worry as well. They had taken in even the gas cutters to try and cut the metal to be able to see if they can find the 8 people who have been trapped there, but there has been no luck so far. No cell phone connectivity, no talking through the walkie-talkie, and even though the end is only about let's say half a kilometer from there, calling out the names in that little space which is available should have been audible to anyone who was there. Some noise should have come, nothing at all that gives us hope that those people trapped there are still alive. So the government, while on the one hand does not want to give up on the rescue effort and wants to make sure that they do everything possible to save those lives, but hope certainly is dimming, and they do not want to put the rescue teams to a bigger risk. So even though the Eastern Naval Command has sent in the Marine Commandos, what are called the Mariko, Uttarakhand has sent in the rat miners, all of them have been put on standby because the Marine Commandos can't work in this kind of a slush. And the rat miners, we are only talking about sending them where you're talking about small gaps and then you can send in people. Even that is not happening here. And the third part of this entire operation of getting in more experts to that area to give the inputs while you're sending in things like proboscopes or the drones to be able to read the area, to be able to understand what's happening there. There are some sonar equipment as well that is being used to find out what is happening in the waters, what is the depth of the waters. But beyond that, they need more inputs to make sure that they are not putting the lives to risk with this operation, and therefore they are waiting for those inputs to come. And right now everything therefore on standby. The families of the people from Jharkhand have also come to the site, and they are having a traumatic wait. The other workers as well, obviously getting very emotional with the fact that they may have lost some of those people who they were working with. Most of them who are working in these sites are all migrant labor from elsewhere, very, very few in fact from locals. Among the 8, of course, 4 of them are laborers from Jharkhand, 2 of them are from Uttar Pradesh, and 1 from Jammu Kashmir, and 1 others from Punjab. 2 of them, of course, drivers, and 2 of them are engineers who had gone in there. They are employees of JP Associates and the other of the Robbins Company, which is the American company that's carrying out this entire rescue operation. So while those firms are trying to do what they can, the government, private agencies, experts, all trying to give their inputs, because this is proving to be a very complex operation. Much more, we are told by Mr. Harpal Singh, road tunnel expert, also says that there is comparison between Uttarakhand, the tunnel rescue operation, and this is very different. This is very complex because it's 400 meters below. It's below the Amrabad Tiger Reserve. There is a Krishna River water to the side. So all those are risks of getting in from the side into the tunnel, or trying to dig that 400 meters through the rock, all of which could destabilize the tunnel itself. And therefore it's a very calculated decision that now needs to be taken by the administration and government. With camera person Nagraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.